Ole Miss split an opening weekend series with Hawaii. How concerned should fans be about that? Specifically, how concerned should they be about how the team performed in the last two games of the series, getting flat out dominated by Hawaii? Towards the end of February, it's the first weekend of the season. So should that be a time for panic? Should that be a time for concern? Let's talk about it. My name is Michael Borky. Glad that you guys are here. Appreciate you checking out the channel. Please like the video. Leave a comment. Do you think that it's concerning? How concerned are you about Ole Miss's Week 1 performance of the baseball season? Let me know. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you find out when I go live. We will do that Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, so be sure to check that out. We talked about it on the radio show today some because in a vacuum, and this is really the point that I was discussing, is in a vacuum, it's no big deal. It's a long trip all the way out to Hawaii. The first game of the series ended at almost 4 a.m. Central Time. Kind of a new team trying to figure out how to gel, new rotation, a lot of new position players. And baseball happens sometimes. FAU beat Vanderbilt, should have won that series there against Vanderbilt. They didn't, but they should have. They still took a game, though. St. John's in Florida only played one time because of weather, but St. John's won that one time. James Madison took one game from Arkansas, and there are example after example after example of that in college baseball where, it's an opening weekend series. It happens. That's baseball, as people say, and it's a long season, and there's a lot of ball left, and those kind of things. And in a vacuum, that is absolutely and totally fine. But sports don't exist in a vacuum, and this Ole Miss program does not exist in a vacuum. This is obviously, as you guys know, no need to rehash it too much, but coming off of a disaster season a year ago. It was an outright disaster following the national championship, and they played, most importantly, really bad and sloppy baseball. It wasn't just that they lost, it's how they lost and how things looked. And the no starter going deep into a ball game. What was it? 13.1 combined innings from the four starters against this Hawaii lineup, which, is not terrible. They're not bad, but it's certainly not an SEC lineup by any stretch of the imagination. The bullpen got shelled for the last two games. They gave up way too many free bases. What was it? 14 free bases in game 4, including 6 errors. Horrible situational hitting. It was really ugly baseball. Now, that we had to listen to and look at box scores because you couldn't watch but the first game, but that is downright ugly baseball. And coming off of that season, and you guys remember, we talked about it a little bit, but they released that hype video on Thursday talking about how that they were sorry about last season, that it was below standard, and they went right back to work and all that stuff. And instead of getting a team that was that played clean and were locked in, they made a lot of mistakes and were really bad situationally. And that is, it was ugly and it's outright concerning. If you want positive spin, it's that some of that can be cleaned up. I mean, there's a high school right up the road from where I sit right now. They played pretty good baseball. They wouldn't have even had 6 errors on some nights, given the same opportunities that Ole Miss had. They're not going to have 6 errors on a nightly basis. Some of that can be cleaned up. And if it gets cleaned up, then they're in pretty good shape. You had guys that certainly have the talent at the plate, have proven it in other leagues anyway, that they're good hitters and capable hitters, better than they showed this weekend. So that is still something that can, change. Lineups can be tinkered with. Pitchers are going to rotate. Maybe you'll see Wes Mendez, for example, start on a weekend. That's something that I would consider pretty soon, despite him being a freshman. Saying the phrase, it's early, it's fine, but it's a mistake without the proper context. It's fine if they were coming off of a good season, but they're not. It's fine if they just get beat, but the way they got beat, the non-competitive nature of the final 2 games is should be deeply concerning. They now have 6 games before they get to Iowa, and it's Arkansas State. Forgive the lighting. I don't know why that's happening, but we're just going to roll with it. It's Arkansas State, 3 games with High Point, Little Rock, and Missouri State. Those games won't tell us much from a talent perspective, but they need to look better. It needs to be that they don't issue a bunch of walks. They don't boot the ball around. They field clean. They look clean. They are much better with runners in scoring position. They have more competitive at bats. It needs to look better. And frankly, they need all 6. Especially when we're talking about the possibility of a postseason, which it's very, very early for that. But they need all 6, but it needs to look a lot better, especially with a good Iowa team just around the corner coming to Oxford. And in my opinion, you should really only, I don't know why that's happening, but we're rolling with it. You should only get one That's Baseball free pass, and they've already had it. A 2-2 split with the way it looked against Hawaii, that's your free pass. If they look like that again, then it's not panic time, because panicking is not necessarily a thing that should be done. That's really distracting me. That is really distracting me. But you only get one free pass, and they've already used that free pass. If it continues to look like that, then you're going to have a really long season ahead. So yes, it's early, all that stuff, a lot of baseball to be played, but it must look better and it must be a lot cleaner, or else we're possibly going to be talking about another Ole Miss season without postseason baseball. It is early, but the change has got to happen this week, right now, right away. So should you be concerned? Absolutely you should. Is it the end of the season in February? No, it's not. We'll see if they can clean it up fast. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to go call a paranormal investigator to figure out why my lights are flickering right now. And I'll see you guys on the live stream tomorrow night. See you soon.